Now from Atlanta News First Plus, this is Sports Tonight.
Hello and welcome to ANF Plus Sports Tonight. My name is Ellie Parker. I'm here with Emily Gagnon. It's been a bit. I was out of town for a while. How have you been?
Okay, Ellie, stop acting like this. Ellie's acting brand new because she got her hair did. Let's say we love it. We love this new color. It looks great, and you are like a week off and fresh, right?
Yes,
like you're ready to be back
absolutely
to work.
fresh. I am raring to go. Let's go.
Yeah, and we have a lot to let's go on tonight. We'll get started with Carson Beck, who announced that he is coming back for his 5th season. The reason he has a 5th season is that COVID year. So for him, this is great, a great opportunity to come back and probably get drafted in the top 10 next year. So for him, he could have been drafted this year, probably not as high, but definitely a pocket passer. The NFL will love him, not only if he continues the way he's playing. I definitely think that we're going to be talking about him as a top 5, top 10 pick next year, but this is a great move for him.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't, because most draft prospects had him at like second round-ish.
Yeah, like second or third. But I really thought, Ellie, in my mind, I thought if he, goes to the combine and meets with the teams, they would see how football smart he is. And again, he doesn't run much, but he really can throw the ball. I think it's over 3,700 yards. It was
a smidge over 3,700 yards, 22
touchdowns.
22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
Look at you and I. See, we're just in a groove together
Let's go.
today.
I love this.
And, they've lost one game under his watch. So he's played really, really good ball. I just think he just hasn't had enough time, right? He's only been able to start for one season.
Granted, that was because you had 2-time national champion Stetson Bennett in front of him.
The man, Stetson Bennett.
So this isn't exactly like, oh, he hasn't had the time to start because he's not been good. We saw this season. He has always been this good. He has been good enough to start the entire time. And now we're just getting to see that because he's finally in the spotlight.
That's correct. And the more reps he gets as the starter, the better his chances are for him to, like I said, go in the top 10 in next year's NFL draft. But at least Dog fans now know. We actually talked to him yesterday. He was handing out gifts to kids at Academy for Christmas, which was very sweet. He handed out $200 gift cards at Academy for kids to get whatever they wanted. I mean, like 20 kids were just let loose to get whatever they wanted. Plenty of them got UGA gear. I don't know if that was on his end of things or on their end of things. But, he's getting out in the community. Again, great with the media. He can really, really play. So I think this guy's going to be a complete stud in the NFL. But at least, like I said, Dog fans can have a good Christmas knowing that not only is he going to come back for the bowl game, which he told us yesterday, but today he informed us that he'll be back for an entire season, which, by the way, Ali, I know you've seen that crazy schedule that UGA is going to have to play next season in Tuscaloosa, at Texas. It is not going to be easy. And the transfer portal, I mean, we keep hearing just crazy things, which we're going to keep talking about, obviously.
We're going to get to it.
Last week I was on here talking about how surprised I was that JDJ was in the transfer portal. Jamon Dumas-Johnson, one of their biggest leaders on defense, injured himself against your Mizzou Tigers, and we hadn't seen him since, but definitely one of the, like I said, biggest leaders on defense and more productive guys on defense. But he's out. I mean, he's headed on to the next team. So this is the wild, wild west of college football, which leads us to our next topic.
Oh, boy. This is the third team that Dylan Raiola has now been committed to about, 30 minutes?
In the span of a year.
In the span of a year. And about 30 minutes after we get the
Carson Beck news.
We get that at maybe 2 o'clock. About 30 minutes later, Dylan Raiola drops the corniest flip post I have ever seen.
Should I read it?
It's not to get too, Zoomer here. It was so cringe. Oh my God, I cringed so hard. Oh my God.
So guys, Dylan Raiola, just so we're all on the same page, okay?
Flipped from Georgia to Nebraska.
Yeah, but originally he was committed to Ohio State. So he
Yes.
started off wanting to go to OSU, committed in December 2022. By the spring of 2023, he was then committed to UGA. That's the first flip. He decided to move to Georgia and play high school ball at Buford to be close to UGA. Yes, he was at most home games for the Dogs, on the sideline pregame, in his jersey, hanging out, doing the things with his friends. Looked very much like he was going to be a big part of the program. They get bounced in the quarterfinals, though everybody or most people had Buford winning it all.
Yeah.
And then my man all of a sudden decides he wants to go on an official visit to Nebraska this past weekend. And today, after the visit, he announces he has flipped. And his dad, I will say, played at Nebraska. So there's some
Dad played at
history
Nebraska.
there.
His uncle is currently the O-line coach. So there is family history there.
There is. So he puts out his little tweet, and it says, "Go Big Red," in big caption. And then, like you said, the cheesiness ensues. But I'll just read a little bit of it. Just, I don't want you to, have a complete meltdown in front of me. But it says, "In the realm of college dreams where purpose takes flight, enter Dylan Raiola, crafting his narrative in the night." Hold on. I feel like I should be reading this book to children right now.
Oh, my God.
Once lured by Georgia, where powerhouse glory gleamed, yet Nebraska's purpose is his heart brightly beamed. I mean, this is a whole poem, guys.
It's an entire poem. It has to be seen to be believed
Yeah.
because, oh my God.
Good job, though, to Matt
This
Rule.
man.
Matt Rule.
Matt Rule, hats
Props
off
to
to
you.
you.
I mean,
Hats off to you.
You did you got it.
You did the thing.
Yeah, you really did. You had the basically the number one quarterback in the class of 2024 come visit you over the weekend, and he flipped. And he was the highest rated guy in Georgia's class of 2024. It'll be interesting to see what that does come Wednesday when the early signing period starts.
And at least according to ESPN, Dylan Raiola intends to go to Nebraska
Like
in
now.
January and enroll early.
Yeah. And as he should. He's done with high school. And many kids do that because that puts you well ahead of anyone else in your class. You have a whole spring. You go through spring ball. So you're significantly advanced. But also this tells me one thing, and I can't blame the kid for this. And we can talk about several different topics when we're talking about kids flipping and all this stuff. But he'll be able to start right away.
Yeah.
Next season, come game one for the Huskers, I have no clue who they're playing. But he will be under center, starting for them, QB1. Now, had he stayed with UGA, I think it was made very evident to him that he would more than likely have to sit out. This has happened so many times under Kirby's watch. I mean, let's just think about it, right?
How many times have they lost a guy who went to Buford? It seems like this has happened quite a few times.
Well, this
Like
is
with Buford High School in particular.
really.
At least to me.
Well, this is my deal with since Kirby Smart's taken over. Kirby hasn't had a dude who's gone in, the first round of the NFL draft as far as quarterbacks are concerned. He drafts a ton of defensive guys in the first round, but not a quarterback. And if I were a young quarterback deciding where I wanted to play college ball, that'd be the first thing I would look at. How many guys are coming out of UGA who play my position?
Yeah.
And you look under Kirby Smart's watch, right? Okay, so his first season, was it Jacob Eason? I believe it was Jacob Eason, but that wasn't his guy.
Yeah, it wasn't his guy.
Jacob Eason was recruited by Mark Richt. And 2016, in his first season, that's the quarterback, I believe. So 2017 is the year I start covering UGA full-time, and Kirby is in his second season. Game one, Eason goes down, Fromm comes in as the true freshman, and Eason loses his job to injury. He was able to come back, but Fromm outplayed him. Fromm was Kirby's guy. Fromm ended up playing, right?
Right.
Fromm left early after 3 years. Was he drafted?
I want to say he was.
And if he was, it was like 6th or 7th round.
Yes, it was very late. He's still bouncing around as a backup. He may be on a practice squad. at this point.
Yeah. And no offense to Fromm. As a freshman, a true freshman, he took them to the national championship game, though many people will tell you that had everything to do with Nick Chubb and Sonny Michel. I mean, when you have those two guys helping you
Yeah.
out day in and day out, that's a little less intimidating. But, that was Kirby's first taste of being a head coach and playing for a national championship in his second season. So Fromm was there, and then after Fromm enters my man from California. Gosh, what was his name? Help me out with this one.
Jeez.
Who also lost his job to injury to Stetson Bennett.
And he just medically retired.
Yes, he did medically retire after playing for 15 different college teams. No offense to him, because he was a great dude. Loved interviewing him.
It was.
This is
like
during the pandemic.
Come on.
During the pandemic.
Come on, give the guy
I'm trying.
a little
You
bit
know, what
of...
I'm talking about, from California.
Yes.
Anyhow.
JT Daniels.
JT Daniels. That's right. So again, we've got Jacob Eason to Jake Fromm, Stetson Bennett, Jacob Daniels. You also had a guy who started that 2022 season, who then transferred, another guy, completely different guy, who transferred out. He started in that Arkansas game that season. He transferred out. And all this to say, then you have Carson Beck, and no offense to Carson Beck, I think he's playing beautifully, but none of these guys are... Maybe Carson Beck will break the curse. Maybe Carson Beck will be drafted in the first round, which I hope for the NFL, I think he's perfect.
I mean, if I'm a Georgia quarterback, I'm just hoping for day two. Forget about the first round with Kirby's history, because
Correct.
Stetson Bennett was round 6 or round 7.
Stetson went in the third round.
Stetson was third round. I thought he went much later.
But Stetson is not playing right now.
Yeah, basically.
I don't know that he'll ever play in the NFL.
And then obviously Jake Fromm, who went very, very late.
Yeah.
JT
No
Daniels
offense
is a
to these
special case
guys
because he
at all.
had to medically retire.
But Kirby does not put an importance on the
No,
quarterback
he doesn't.
position. The quarterback position to him is like any other position, which might work for him because obviously the last 2 seasons they have won national championships basically on the backs of their defense. But something has to give. And
Yeah.
I'm saying all this for one reason. Who was behind Jake Fromm when Jacob Eason transferred to Washington? You remember, because he's your guy who now plays for the Bears.
That would be one Justin Fields.
Correct. Justin Fields played behind Jake Fromm, and he didn't get the playing time he wanted, so he left and transferred to Ohio State. It worked out great for him. Now he got drafted in the first round, plays for the Bears. So the only place that I can remember, and maybe I want you to put your brain and think about this, that I can remember where it worked between a older starter and the young buck coming through who's maybe possibly better is Tim Tebow's first season at Florida. You had Chris Leak as the guy who started, who he was the proven senior who deserved to start. But then you had Tim Tebow, who also was deserving to start, who came in and was like, hey, I'm the guy. So guess what? Urban Meyer made that work. He played them both, and they won a national championship that year. You remember that?
Yeah.
And so for me, that's what I think of when I think of like a younger quarterback coming in, an older one, and how you can kind of make it work. Is that one situation. Chris Leak sure was probably not happy with some of the playing time he was giving up, but I think he still felt respected.
Yeah, and then that's always a tough balance to strike. And one has to wonder, with what we've learned about Urban Meyer, how he was the one to strike it. But yeah,
This is tough. And you know what, Kirby? If Kirby wants to recruit these young kids and keep these young kids, he's going to have to find a way to balance that. But
although, I mean, to be fair, Nick Saban has a very similar, I don't want to say problem, because these two coaches are extremely successful with how they're coaching, but has the same sort of program. Like,
I feel like Saban's evolved, though.
Saban is evolving because you have
because
Bryce
he's
Young,
had quarterbacks in recent years drafted in the first
but
round.
you think about,
Tua, Bryce Young,
but
Mac Jones.
before those 3 guys, he's been at Alabama since 2007. Who was the most notable Alabama quarterback between 2007 and 2019?
Lee's here. Lee.
AJ McCarron.
Most notable quarterback for Alabama before Mac Jones. Bryce Young, and Tua. Jake Coker. No, I said before Tua. McElroy. But any of these guys, first
Thank
rounders?
you, AJ. None of these guys made it anywhere in the NFL except for A.J. McCarron, who has gotten his bag as a backup, and respect to him for that.
Yeah.
But
But you're bringing up another great point, Ellie, is that when Kirby left Saban, that's how it worked, right?
yeah,
Saban since evolved. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's since understood that the quarterback position is important.
Mm-hmm.
And Kirby was not with him in these most recent years where we're talking about Tua, where we're talking about Mac Jones, where we're talking about Bryce Young. And maybe this year he went back to his old ways because...
I wouldn't even say that. This year they just had, I think the quarterback play at Alabama just wasn't up to snuff for the first few weeks. And then they got their hinds into gear.
Milroe has gotten significantly better.
Milroe got significantly better.
Yeah.
And it was smooth sailing from there, and here we are, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah. I agree with that. I do think, though, Kirby's going to have to, and maybe he won't, going to have to maybe rethink that position and rethink the importance of having, that, I can't think of a more important position on the field, Ellie, and I love defense. Like, I want to watch defense all day. I love defensive ends. Like, I want, like, an edge rusher. Like, that's what I like to watch.
Yes.
But I do understand that on most teams...
Most important person on the field is the guy with the ball in his hands.
Correct.
And who has the ball in his hands most often? Quarterback.
Yeah. So but again, National Signing Day is coming Wednesday, the early period where most kids actually sign now. So there's going to be like 20 kids that signed to UGA, and the transfer portal has made things so tough, and NIL has made things so tough, and it's just insane how much money these kids are making and maybe never even playing a down of football for certain schools. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that's where we are right now. We're in this wild, wild west period of college football where money is king, and where kids used to want to attend schools because of, the Gator logo or the A from Alabama or even the big G for Georgia. Now, they don't care about that as much. They go into these schools and they say, how much are you going to pay me? What NIL deals can I get with you? Oh, that's great. Well, then that's where I'm going to go. Instead of possibly winning a national championship. It's wild. Wild.
I mean, no different from a head coaching search, I think. I'm serious when I say that. Like, this is it's turning into a job, which, okay, most kids are probably going to see this that way because every, at least D1 athlete I've talked to, never had time for an actual job.
Yeah.
When they were playing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, if they have to treat it this way, then go get your money.
You don't like your job, you move on to the next one. All righty. We're sticking with football, and unfortunately, it's still not good.
The anti-LSU Alabama 2011 championship game, instead of a 9-6 romp between two powerhouses that are among the greatest college football teams of all time, you have two teams that those two LSU and Alabama teams might have beat.
Awful football.
Awful. Terrible.
9-7.
What are
Ugly
we doing here?
Score. I just think, Ellie, I'm done. I mean, we obviously have to keep covering the Falcons, but 9-7.
How was Arthur Smith not tarmacked?
No, I said 9-7. 9-2-7.
Yes,
is what I meant to say.
9-2-7.
But I don't know.
How do you not leave this man in Charlotte?
Oh, you're funny. With the bad weather. Yesterday's weather was awful. But listen, I think this has everything to do with Desmond Ridder, and that was the biggest mistake of the season. It's no disrespect to Des. I understand he has a family to feed, and, not all of us are amazing at our jobs. And then we have to change jobs, and then maybe we become amazing at those ones. But the starting quarterback role for Desmond Ridder in the NFL, it's not working out. No. It's really not. And I hate to say that. And again, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it's the truth. His 10th interception of the season was thrown yesterday. It was probably the most costly one of the season. The Falcons were driving. They were so close to scoring. And Xavier Woods threw up the X when he, made the interception. And then the Panthers drive down the field, and boom, all of a sudden the game-winning field goal, and they win their second game of the season. This is deja vu for the Falcons. They've now lost to 2 one-win teams. Enough is enough. Like, win is enough. And then you have the Colts this week on the 24th, the day before Christmas. Falcons fans, the day before Christmas, your Christmas might be ruined because this is an actual decent team that they're going to face. You know what I'm saying?
If I'm a Falcons fan and I don't want my Christmas to be ruined,
You're not
I'm
watching.
already not watching the game.
Yeah. No.
I'm not giving this team the
good on
time
that.
of day.
No, I am. But we also
we have to cover this. We have to care about this team because we get paid to. You don't. You don't. Punt. See you in September.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
It's bad. It's really bad. But, Bijan Robinson, I don't think it's been talked enough is the fact that he fumbled the ball, and he's had issues with fumbles this season. Yeah. Obviously, we don't talk about it as much because he's still doing his job. But, he's a rookie. These things happen, but he's going to have to learn to, hold on to that ball and protect the football. And Dez, what's interesting today is head coach Arthur Smith said, he wasn't sure if he was going to start Dez this upcoming week. And I thought, didn't this man say when they came back from their bye week after they lost to Arizona, the 1-win Arizona Cardinals, that once he made his decision that he was not going to switch it again? Here we are. So we went from Dez to my man backup, I forget his name.
Taylor Heineke. Back to Ritter, and now we could go back to Heineke. It could happen. What are we doing? Why are we here? Just to suffer? Oh my God.
Yeah,
what?
So 3 games left, and I guess there's still a chance, like a 1% chance that they make it to postseason play. But they're third in the NFC South, 6-8 on the season. The Bucks, I think, are number 1. They still
I believe the Bucks and the Saints are both at 7-7.
Okay. So, and they still have to play the Saints. The Falcons still have to play the Saints in their final game of the regular season. They have the Colts, and they have somebody else in between. I can't remember who, but whoever it is does not have a winning record. But the Bucks have the tiebreaker, I believe, over the Falcons.
I believe they do.
So, things get a little muddy.
Oh, it's the Bears. They're playing on
the Bears.
New Year's Eve.
That's another one. Don't let them ruin 2 holidays, guys. 2 holidays could be ruined, and your Bears are doing better.
I don't want them to be.
Oh,
because I want that high draft pick.
Yeah, I know.
I want Carolina to fall flat on its face for the rest of the season. Please lock up that number 1 pick. Please and thank you.
But wait, do you at least like the fact that they have found some continuity here towards the end of the season with Justin Fields?
With Justin Fields, they're beginning to find something. Obviously, it's a little late in the season. Yes,
it is, but there is something to be said about momentum. I'm
optimistic.
Season.
Yes,
because for a second there, I think people started to question, and I'm sure you're some of those people. That is he the guy?
Oh, how many times have we had this conversation on this show?
Right. Is Fields the guy?
Can he lead
the Bears? And I think, what I've seen lately is certainly a turn in the right direction.
A turn in the right direction, but I'm not to the point where I can go, he is the guy.
Wait, so do you want another quarterback? If you want a high draft pick?
I don't want to use a quarterback on it.
What do you want?
Give me Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay.
Give me more weapons.
Okay. So you would be willing to keep Justin, but you just want more guys around him.
Yes.
So it sounds like
more guys around him.
Justin Fields could come to Atlanta. He could come to Atlanta and have all those guys. He could have Bijan. He could have Kyle Pitts.
He would have to he would have to deal with Arthur Smith, though.
But if you want weapons, I feel like
it's at the same time, it's just not just a weapons problem. It would also be a coaching problem. Which, yes, is Matt Eberflus perfect? No, not even close.
But you like him better than Smith.
Yes. unequivocally.
Oh man,
And that's saying something.
Yeah. This has been a rough season for a lot of teams. But my last thing about the Falcons before we move on, Ellie, is that this was supposed to be the season of change. And
This was supposed to be the season.
I think that's
where things turned a corner, and they didn't. They got worse.
Yeah, preseason, all of these defensive moves are being made. All this cash is being spent on the defense, which, by the way, the defense is still a top 10 defense.
Defense is still great.
Which, to me, like, the defense have been so bad in the past few seasons that is a plus. But this was supposed to be the year with a great defense, and you had a good young quarterback coming in here with some weapons around him. But this all leads to my biggest issue with the Falcons, with Smith and with Fontenot per se, is they draft the best player available. They don't draft at the position they need. Stop drafting. That's the philosophy there. Draft the best player available on the board, even though you might not need that position.
And then when they do draft a guy like Bijan Robinson, they don't use him. Where is Bijan Robinson? Where's Kyle Pitts in this offense?
Number 5, though, Drake London has been getting the ball a lot and making big plays. Big plays.
Oh my God! It's
Like
when you use your good players, you succeed.
Yeah.
What a shocker!
Yeah, all 3 guys are very good, but definitely not positions they needed. And maybe, that's why they'll continue to fail, is because they're getting these big fancy guys to come in at positions they're already good at.
Yeah.
Like, why are we doing this? Offensive line, quarterback. Those are the 2 glaring issues. Because, like I said, the defense is all right. I mean, I used to say, like, let's do something with the DBs, but Bates has played his butt off.
Yeah.
I mean, he has played so well. And the line doesn't look bad. Campbell,
it really
he had his 100. He might have had more, but at one point in the game yesterday, he had his 103rd sack. He's now top 25 in the league in NFL history in sacks. I mean, you got a mastermind there at defensive line. It's just sad. It's sad to see all this talent go to waste, especially somebody like Calais, who this might be his last season.
Yeah.
All right, DeMonte Casey, Crazy Casey, was his nickname. It probably still is when he was with the Falcons. He was drafted by DQ, Dan Quinn and the staff. I remember the first time he ever came to Atlanta after being drafted. This guy was very unique. But go ahead and tell us what's going on with him, because this is some crazy news.
So he got suspended for the rest of the season because he had
perhaps more games.
Perhaps more.
Perhaps more.
Because he
keeps breaking the rules.
Yeah, keeps breaking the rules. I believe it was...
Here, I have the official email from the NFL in my inbox.
I want to say it was Michael Pittman.
Yes, it was. It was.
Well, on the one hand, it was this really nasty hit.
He's now with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. This was not necessarily a Falcons problem. Just going to wrap this up really quickly. We're suspended for the rest of the season because this hit that really couldn't be avoided, but he's done this over and over and over and over and over again throughout the season. So I guess the NFL was just trying to make an example of him.
Repeated violations of playing rules intended to protect the health and safety of players. Straight from the NFL. DeMonte Casey making hits he's not supposed to make, and that's why they call him Crazy Casey. But it's not good because you're putting other players at risk. You don't want to knock a player out where he could never play again. That's certainly not the goal of any player I've ever talked to. Ever. No player's ever said, like, hey, I want to injure somebody to the point where they can never play again. That's ridiculous.
All right, what's on your mind? We got about a minute.
I'm just glad to have you back, Ellie. This is the
you.
Christmas gift I had been waiting for. Your hair looks great. I mean, we are on a roll. So much news coming out on this Monday. But I'm truly looking forward to signing day and seeing what the dogs can do. The splash they'll make now knowing that Raiola is no longer the guy for them. You?
All right, NBA All-Star voting opens tomorrow, I believe. Trae Young is absolutely deserving of a starting spot.
Oh.
See ya.
Bye.